Myths about common or commercial real estate and property management. So there was an Inman article, and I'm gonna basically pick a few here. And Brian, feel free to chip in on your opinion here. But myth number one: making big income is very easy with little work and time involved.
Yeah, that's
basically passive income.
Huge myth. That's a lie.
So one of the big issues in today's world is that going back to social media, it's so easy to sell on social media. In fact, there are 18 and 19-year-olds that are making $100,000 to $200,000 per year selling programs on how to do passive income. Guess what? They're making passive income off of the work that they're putting in to sell you a crappy program.
Yeah, well, it's not too different from real estate, from those real estate seminars that teach you how to be a successful real estate agent, and that individual is making money from selling you seminars on how to become a successful real estate agent, but they're probably not practicing sales themselves. They did for like 2 years, and they
went from infomercials to YouTube.
Yeah.
And as much as like the buy referral programs, the Tom Ferry programs, and as much as those have good information, get you riled up, the majority of those agents probably lose money every year based on the coaching and based on the actual products that they buy compared to the actual sales that they make. Right. But it gets everyone feeling good and riled up. So you got to put in work. You got to put in time. Depending on what your goals are with property. Here's a good example. If you're going to buy rental properties and manage it yourself, guess what? There's a lot to do in property management. That's a full-time job in itself. You're not going to be able to automate it and just let it sit off to the side. If you want to automate it, what you need to do is hire a property manager. That's the first step. But even if you hire a property manager, that manager is going to be coming back to you for decision after decision after decision, and you're going to be managing it and still putting in some work into it. If you really want to be 100% passive, that's where you hire a asset manager to then manage the property management.
Just to kind of interject there, anytime you're getting involved in anything entrepreneurial, you're gonna have a lot of work. So one of the first things you should always do is kind of do something you love, right? Because honestly, if it's something you enjoy doing, then the hours that it takes going into it really go by rather quickly, as opposed to something you just trying to do because you think you're gonna make a ton of money at it because you're following some myth. And which is like a big common mistake, that you're going to just make all this money having a real estate license with little to no work, because that's just because real estate agents just make money for doing nothing, right? Like that's just a big myth.
Here's another myth: the hours you put in will be less than a regular job.
Yeah.
I literally work anywhere from 14 to 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week consistently.
Like I came in on a Sunday and I saw you working, because I was coming in on a Sunday, and I've been doing this 29 years, right? So,
and I'm not gonna lie. There's sometimes I see people that work 9 to 5, and I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, man, that'd be a nice schedule to have.
Right.
I can do real estate part-time. You, as a broker overseeing agents, you obviously have agents that try to do it part-time.
Yeah.
How does that compare to agents that do it full-time?
Well, again, I don't even really take on agents anymore that want to do it part-time. I have some people who've been with me for years who've been part-time. And again, like we've talked about this, and we talked about this in other episodes where, some offices have agents who really just sell one transaction a year, and, you barely ever see them. And you can't do real estate these days part-time. And that's if you're going to work a 9 to 5 job and then you're going to come in the evenings. And the way that social media, the way that the internet, the way that cell phones have connected everybody these days, people want instantaneous gratification. They want instantaneous response. And nowadays, with the internet providing so much access to properties and consumers being able to access them, your job as an agent is to really be the expert, from the legal to the finance, and be able to guide them through the process, and that's your value add, and you can't do that part-time. So that's a huge myth. In fact, every time I've seen people just put part-time hours into it, they're very dissatisfied, and I'm very dissatisfied.
Yeah, one thing, and it seems like I've been having so many conversations with people in the last couple months of people wanting to get their real estate license to help people buy and sell properties.
Well, keep in mind that a lot of times people do that because they'll look at somebody who is successful and go, I want to be just like you.
Correct. And the conversation I have with them is really make sure this is something you want to do and try. Maybe get a part-time assistant job with a real estate agent that's successful. Get to know the business a little bit more, because many people don't realize that the average real estate agent makes $39,000 in gross commission income per year. Minus expenses, take home is in the $20,000, like $28,000 after taxes.
Right.
So it's not as much money as people think. I mean, that's the average. 65% of all agents have made one or less transaction in 2019. One or less.
Yeah.
The majority is zero.
Now, keep in mind, the amount of money you can make is rather unlimited, but
Correct.
you're going to pay for that in time and experience. And the only way you get experience is time.
And it's not really unlimited too, because you have a finite number of transactions that happen.
Right.
And the more and more agents that come into the business, the less and less everyone shares.
Clarification, if all you're doing is only selling houses, then yes, there is a certain number. But even then, I've seen agents out there who close 300 transactions a year in teams, and so they're clocking in really large dollar amounts, right? So it is possible. It's just you have to diversify or really spend a lot of time.
Now I'm just going to throw this in before we get to our feature topic. But if someone is really interested in getting the real estate license, feel free to reach out to any of us. So, I mean, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about property management or sales side of the business and guide you as to maybe you want to find out if this is really something you want to do.